or most of it, but the Jordan River will be an obstacle he will not overcome. He will die before crossing over the Jordan River, will be buried somewhere on Mount Nebo. The Bible says that it doesn't know its exact location.
Now, we believe when Moses and the Israelites got here to Mount Nebo, we used to have a lot of caves.
For centuries, the final resting place of Moses has remained one of the greatest mysteries in human history. According to biblical tradition, he ascended Mount Nebo, gazed upon the promised land, and then vanished from history, his burial hidden by God himself. But now, in a groundbreaking discovery, a recent marine expedition has uncovered something shocking, something buried deep beneath the sands of time. In 2021, the world rejoiced when scientists from 4 major universities claimed to have found remnants of Noah's Ark, the vessel that saved humanity 5,000 years ago. But this new revelation is even more astonishing. The long-lost tomb of Moses has allegedly been found, and what was discovered inside has sent shockwaves through both the scientific and theological communities. If his grave was meant to be hidden by divine will, how was it uncovered? And more importantly, what terrifying secrets were buried with him? Join us as we at Jesus Eternal Aura unravel the mystery behind what they just found inside Moses' tomb scares the whole world.
Okay, if there is a historical Moses, where is this guy? I mean, where was he buried?
According to the biblical tradition, he ended on the other side of it.
Moses is one of the most pivotal figures in biblical history, a man whose life and legacy have profoundly shaped not only the Israelite faith, but also the spiritual and cultural fabric of the world. If we were to count the biblical figures who played a decisive role in shaping the destiny of nations, Moses would undoubtedly top the list. His unparalleled legacy has led to speculation that, had circumstances been different, an ancestral cult might have been created in his honor, venerating his powerful spirit. From the very moment of his birth, Moses' life was marked by extraordinary events. He miraculously survived a massacre ordered by Pharaoh, an act that set him on the path to greatness. He was the chosen one, called by God to lead the Israelites out of their Egyptian bondage. He performed miraculous signs and wonders in Egypt, confronted Pharaoh with divine authority, and delivered the 10 Commandments, an event that would forever shape the moral and spiritual consciousness of humanity. Yet, for all his greatness, the final chapter of his life remains shrouded in mystery. A man whose contributions to history should be celebrated for generations, who deserved to be revered in life and in death, met an end that remains one of the Bible's greatest enigmas. Moses' death marked the conclusion of the Exodus journey, the culmination of years spent guiding his people through trials, tribulations, and divine revelations. But unlike many of his contemporaries, the circumstances of his burial were veiled in secrecy, sparking centuries of speculation and debate. The scriptures state that God himself buried Moses in a valley in Moab near Beth Peor, yet no one has ever been able to locate his grave. Historians, theologians, and archaeologists have relentlessly searched for his final resting place, all to no avail. Until recently, when a group of determined archaeologists, unwilling to let this mystery remain unsolved, followed a new lead and made a remarkable discovery. This breakthrough, however, would not have been possible without the influence of one remarkable woman, Miriam. Miriam, the older sister of Moses, played a critical role in shaping his destiny. Her involvement in his life began from the moment he was born. When Pharaoh issued a decree to kill all Hebrew male infants, it was Miriam who acted swiftly and with wisdom beyond her years. She devised a daring plan to save her brother's life, placing him in a basket and setting him adrift on the Nile, praying that he would find sanctuary. Her faith and bravery were rewarded when Pharaoh's daughter discovered the infant and took him in as her own. Displaying remarkable courage, young Miriam boldly approached the princess and offered to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Through her clever intervention, Moses was raised by his own mother, Jochebed, while still enjoying the privileges of an Egyptian upbringing. As Moses grew into adulthood and accepted his divine calling to liberate the Israelites, Miriam remained steadfastly by his side. While history often recounts Moses confronting Pharaoh alone, the truth is that he did not embark on this journey alone. Miriam, along with their brother Aaron, was with him at every step, lending her strength and support. But her contributions extended far beyond mere companionship. She was an integral leader among the Israelites. Miriam was not just a leader, she was a prophetess, a musician, and an inspiration to her people. She played a crucial role in encouraging and uplifting the Israelites throughout their arduous journey. Despite being a woman in a patriarchal society, she commanded immense respect. Her strength and wisdom inspired both men and women, and her prophetic abilities allowed her to communicate divine messages. One of the most notable moments of her life occurred immediately after the miraculous parting of the Red Sea. As Pharaoh's army was swallowed by the waters and the Israelites stood victorious on the other side, Miriam took up a tambourine and led the women in song and dance, exalting God for his mighty acts. This powerful moment, recorded in Exodus 15:20, cemented her legacy as a spiritual leader whose faith moved mountains. However, Miriam's defining moment came during one of the Israelites' most desperate trials. After their escape from Egypt, they faced a new challenge: survival in the unforgiving wilderness. The journey was grueling, and the relentless desert sun drained their energy. Soon, their water supply ran out, plunging them into a state of desperation. The once jubilant people, who had rejoiced at their miraculous deliverance, now found themselves on the brink of despair. They cried out to Moses for help, their voices hoarse and their throats parched, pleading for water to quench their thirst. Moses, feeling the immense burden of leadership, was deeply troubled. He knew he needed to find a solution quickly, lest the people succumb to dehydration. As he sought divine guidance, the Israelites stumbled upon an oasis called Marah. Their relief was short-lived, however, as they soon discovered that the water was bitter and undrinkable. Disheartened and overwhelmed, they once again raised their voices in anguish, their cries echoing across the desolate landscape. It seemed as though their fate was sealed, that they would perish in the wilderness after all. It was in this moment of despair that Miriam took a bold and unexpected step. Amid the chaos and hopelessness, she began to sing. Her voice rose above the cries of distress, carrying messages of faith and hope. She sang of the God who had delivered them from Egypt, the one who had parted the sea and drowned their enemies. Her song was a testament to unwavering trust in divine providence. As her voice reached the heavens, something extraordinary happened. The Lord responded. God instructed Moses to cast a specific piece of wood into the bitter waters of Marah. As soon as he obeyed, the waters were transformed. They became sweet and refreshing, fit for consumption. The Israelites, who had moments ago believed themselves doomed, now drank deeply, their thirst quenched, their faith renewed. This miraculous intervention reaffirmed God's presence among his people and demonstrated the power of worship and faith in the face of adversity. It was Miriam's song that moved the heavens, serving as a catalyst for divine action. Throughout the Exodus journey, Miriam's influence remained strong. She was a pillar of strength, a guiding force who reminded the Israelites of God's faithfulness. Her legacy endures not only in biblical history, but also in the hearts of believers who recognize the power of faith, courage, and divine worship. And yet, even as we celebrate Moses and Miriam's roles in shaping the destiny of the Israelites, one mystery continues to captivate scholars and seekers alike: the final resting place of Moses. The great leader who delivered his people from bondage, who spoke with God face to face, and who received the divine law, vanished into the obscurity of history. His grave remains hidden, a secret preserved by the Almighty himself. But could modern discoveries finally unveil the truth? Could the long-lost burial site of Moses finally be found? A team of archaeologists, driven by an insatiable desire to uncover this ancient mystery, has followed new leads that may finally shed light on one of the greatest enigmas of biblical history. As they piece together clues left behind in sacred texts and ancient records, they may be on the brink of uncovering something extraordinary. Join us as we continue to unravel this mystery layer by layer, exploring the untold stories, the lost history, and the divine legacy of Moses and Miriam. Their journey, their faith, and their impact continue to inspire generations, reminding us that even in the face of the unknown, God's hand remains ever present, guiding, protecting, and revealing His will in His perfect time.
Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I've remembered my covenant.
The story of Moses and the Israelites' journey through the wilderness is filled with extraordinary events, divine interventions, and miraculous occurrences. One such event took place when the Israelites, after days of traveling under the scorching sun, arrived at a bitter water source. They were thirsty and desperate, unable to drink the water due to its undrinkable nature. It was then that Moses, guided by divine instruction, cast a specific piece of wood into the water, an act that astonished everyone. The water, once bitter and undrinkable, miraculously transformed into fresh, sweet water, safe for consumption. The entire camp erupted in joy, drinking to their heart's content, their spirits and strength replenished. This place, where the miraculous transformation occurred, held special significance in Israelite history. Among the notable features were the 12 springs that continued to exist for generations. One of these springs was later cemented over in recognition of Miriam, the sister of Moses, due to her significant role in the Israelites' journey and her connection to divine interventions. This particular well, shaped like a sieve-like rock, became known as Miriam's well. According to ancient Jewish tradition, Miriam's well was not an ordinary water source. It was believed to have followed the Israelites throughout their long journey, providing them with fresh, pure water wherever they went. The well's movements were inexplicable, defying natural laws. Regardless of the terrain, whether through hills, valleys, or plateaus, the well stayed with the Israelites. Each time they paused in their journey, it would settle opposite the tabernacle, symbolizing its divine connection. Whenever water was needed, an elder from each of the 12 tribes would approach Miriam's well, carrying a staff or stick. They would chant sacred words to the well, invoking its divine blessing. Miraculously, water would surge forth in great pillars, then flow out into streams and rivers, separating the camp into different sections. The abundance of water was so great that those wishing to visit another camp section had to use boats or rafts to cross these waters. This miraculous provision continued for years, serving as a testament to God's presence among His people. However, everything changed when Miriam fell ill and eventually passed away. The moment she died, the well ceased to function. The water dried up completely, plunging the Israelites into a crisis. Once again, they found themselves without water in the midst of the harsh desert, returning to a state of desperation. Miriam's death marked a turning point in Moses' journey. After her burial in Kadesh, the Israelites continued their trek through the desert. However, before long, they entered the desert of Zin, where their situation worsened. The unbearable conditions reignited old frustrations, leading the Israelites to complain bitterly against Moses and Aaron. They lamented their suffering, questioning why they had been brought out of Egypt only to perish from thirst in the wilderness. The mounting pressure weighed heavily on Moses and Aaron. Troubled by the complaints, they turned to God, prostrating themselves in the tent of meeting, seeking divine guidance. God responded, instructing Moses to gather the entire assembly and speak to a particular rock. By speaking to it, God promised water would miraculously flow forth, providing sustenance for both the people and their livestock. However, Moses, overwhelmed by frustration and anger at the Israelites' persistent rebellion, did not follow the exact instructions given to him. Instead of speaking to the rock as commanded, he struck it twice with his staff, declaring, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring you water out of this rock?" Water did gush out abundantly, fulfilling God's promise. Yet, this act of disobedience had severe consequences. God was displeased with Moses' actions, viewing them as a lack of faith and disregard for divine instruction. As a result, God declared that although Moses would see the promised land from a distance, he would never be allowed to enter it. This pronouncement sealed Moses' fate. No appeal, prayer, or repentance could change the decision. At the age of 120, after leading the Israelites for decades and guiding them through countless trials, Moses stood on Mount Nebo in Moab, overlooking the promised land he would never step into. It was there that he passed away. The Bible states that God himself buried Moses in an unknown location in Moab, near Beth Peor. This mysterious burial sparked centuries of speculation, curiosity, and even attempts to locate his tomb. The search for Moses' final resting place has fascinated scholars, theologians, and archaeologists alike. Some accounts suggest that Moses was indeed buried in Moab, in a valley near Beth Peor. Others argue that his true burial site was on Mount Nebo in present-day Jordan. Meanwhile, a different school of thought, based on biblical parallels, suggests that Moses never died at all, but was taken directly to heaven, similar to Enoch and Elijah. With such varying accounts, the question remains, where is Moses buried? Could modern technology and archaeological advancements finally uncover the truth? One of the most intriguing recent efforts to locate Moses' tomb was undertaken by archaeologist and explorer Josh Gates. Believing that Miriam's well played a crucial role in the discovery of Moses' final resting place, Gates and his team turned their attention to the Sea of Galilee. The reason for this choice was its proximity to the regions through which Moses and the Israelites traveled during their exodus from Egypt to the Promised Land. Determined to gather as much data as possible, Gates and his team conducted an extensive survey of the lakebed using a seismic air gun. This sophisticated tool sent shockwaves through the water, allowing researchers to map the underwater terrain. By repeatedly setting off charges in a circular pattern around a mysterious submerged structure, they hoped to identify potential evidence of either Miriam's well or Moses' tomb. The results of the seismic survey were astonishing. The collected data allowed scientists to generate a highly detailed 3D image of the lakebed, revealing an unexpected anomaly. The lead scientist, Professor Marco, pointed to a massive structure buried beneath layers of sediment. This discovery suggested that the formation predated the accumulated sediment, meaning it had been built at least 4,000 years ago, coinciding with the approximate time of the Exodus. As the team examined the image, they realized they were looking at something unnatural, a man-made structure in the otherwise flat lake floor. This revelation shocked the researchers. Was this submerged structure linked to Miriam's well? Could it somehow be connected to Moses' burial site? With mounting excitement, the team prepared to dive deeper into the investigation, eager to unravel the mystery hidden beneath the waters of the Sea of Galilee. If this discovery proved to be linked to the biblical account, it could be one of the most groundbreaking archaeological finds in history. As more details emerged, the connection between Miriam's well, Moses' journey, and this underwater structure became clearer. This was not just an isolated discovery, it was potentially a piece of a much larger puzzle, one that could provide insights into one of the greatest mysteries of all time, the final resting place of Moses.
Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face.
The discovery made by the expedition team sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. What initially seemed like a natural rock formation turned out to be something far more intriguing. As the team examined the structure, they quickly realized that it was not a random assembly of stones shaped by nature. Instead, it bore the hallmarks of an intentional construction. These basalt stones, clearly transported from another site, had been deliberately placed, leading the team to suspect that they were standing before an ancient man-made structure. This revelation struck a chord with Josh Gates, an intrepid explorer and archaeologist, who turned to one of the experts on site and voiced a thought that had been forming in his mind. The structure reminded him of an artificial stone mound, a possible tomb covering something of immense historical significance. Could it be that something, or someone, was buried underneath? His curiosity grew into a fervent excitement when the archaeologist not only entertained the idea, but confirmed that this could be the only untouched tomb of its kind in the entire region. With that revelation, an even more thrilling question arose. Could this be the long-lost tomb of Moses? As the pieces of the puzzle began to align, Josh pondered another possibility. Could this structure, which appeared deliberately erected, be linked to the Exodus story? If so, could it also be connected to Miriam's well, a legendary water source that sustained the Israelites during their journey through the wilderness? The idea was compelling. The potential connection between these discoveries sparked further interest, pushing Josh and his team to dig deeper into the mystery. Josh, clearly enthralled by the implications, proposed the next step: a thorough investigation to determine exactly what lay beneath the mysterious stone mound. His hypothesis was that it could be the untouched tomb of an ancient and significant figure, possibly even Moses himself. Such a find would be nothing short of groundbreaking, reshaping our understanding of biblical history and archaeology. However, the road to verifying such a claim was fraught with challenges. For centuries, the exact location of Moses' tomb has been an enigma that has left historians and archaeologists restless. To uncover its whereabouts, experts turned to sacred texts, hoping that biblical and historical accounts could provide much-needed clues. The most widely accepted biblical account of Moses' burial is found in the book of Deuteronomy, which states that Moses was laid to rest in a valley across from Beth Peor. Yet, despite numerous expeditions and explorations, no definitive traces of his grave have ever been discovered in the area. The ambiguity of the biblical text left experts at a standstill. If the scriptures did not provide a clear location, where else could they turn? With the biblical perspective yielding no significant breakthroughs, researchers shifted their focus to another religious tradition: Islamic teachings. Perhaps within Islamic texts and the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, a crucial clue had been preserved. The question now was whether this new avenue of exploration would lead them to a groundbreaking discovery or another historical mystery. In Islamic tradition, Moses, known as Musa, holds immense significance. He is mentioned over 130 times in the Quran, more than any other prophet, highlighting his paramount role in Islamic teachings. According to many Islamic scholars, the secrecy surrounding Moses' burial was intentional. They believed that God had concealed his final resting place to prevent idolatry and excessive veneration at his gravesite. This belief created another obstacle in the search for his tomb. Was it possible that Moses' resting place was never meant to be found? Yet, early in the research, scholars encountered an unexpected twist. While the Quran's narrative of Moses' life closely aligned with the biblical account, emphasizing his mission to lead the Israelites and his role as a divine messenger, its references to his burial site painted a starkly different picture. Some Islamic traditions recount that Prophet Muhammad once claimed to have seen Moses praying over his grave near the red dunes of Rum in Jordan. However, another passage in Islamic scripture suggested that Moses was buried near Jericho in the West Bank. This inconsistency posed a major challenge. How could the final resting place of such a significant figure be associated with multiple locations? Despite the contradictions, one particular site stood out: the tomb of Nabi Musa in the West Bank. This revered location had been a pilgrimage site for centuries, drawing thousands of visitors each year. The possibility that this could be Moses' actual burial place reignited the search for answers, especially given its historical significance. As Josh Gates wrapped up his expedition at the Sea of Galilee, he felt compelled to visit the revered site of Nabi Musa. By now, this location had gained widespread recognition as the possible tomb of Moses, venerated for centuries by Islamic tradition. The anticipation was palpable as Josh and his team ventured deep into the rugged terrain of the Palestinian territories. Upon arrival, the site did not disappoint. Nestled amidst the rolling, arid hills of the West Bank, the Nabi Musa compound stood as a testament to centuries of devotion and religious significance. As Josh stepped through its entryway, he was greeted by Professor Tarek Daily, a local archaeologist who had dedicated much of his career to unraveling the mysteries surrounding this location. Josh wasted no time in getting to the heart of the matter. If biblical accounts stated that Moses had died on Mount Nebo, on the opposite side of the valley, then how had this place come to be associated with his burial? Professor Daily explained that the site's connection to Moses dated back to at least the 4th century AD, when a church was built to commemorate its sacred status. He also pointed out the significance of its name, Nabi Musa, which translates to Prophet Moses. According to historical records, the site had been a place of pilgrimage for centuries, reinforcing its deep-rooted religious significance. Josh, always the skeptic, pressed further. Was there any tangible archaeological evidence to support the claim that Moses was buried here? Professor Daily admitted that the oldest physical marker they had was an inscription near the mausoleum's entrance, dated 1269 AD. This inscription marked the site's official recognition as Moses' burial place, but it was still centuries removed from the time of Moses himself. The lack of definitive evidence troubled Josh. If the site was only officially recognized in the 13th century, then was this merely a tradition that emerged long after Moses' time? He asked if the tomb had ever been opened or examined for verification. What happened next took him completely by surprise. As soon as Josh posed the question, Professor Daly's tone shifted. He explained that while archaeologists are naturally inclined to investigate and uncover historical truths, this particular site was considered a sacred space by the Muslim community. Any disturbance of the tomb was seen as a violation of its sanctity. As a result, the tomb had never been opened, and it was unlikely that it ever would be. This revelation left Josh with an unsettling realization: some mysteries were meant to remain untouched. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the Nabi Musa site had become a deeply significant religious and historical landmark. Pilgrims from as far as Indonesia and India continued to visit the site, paying homage to what they believed to be the final resting place of Moses. The intersection of history, faith, and mystery was undeniable. As Josh concluded his visit, he couldn't help but reflect on the enigma that was Moses' tomb. Without definitive evidence, could we truly believe that Moses was buried here? Or was it possible that he, like the prophet Elijah, had been taken directly to heaven? The search for Moses' tomb remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Will we ever uncover the truth? Or will his final resting place remain hidden for eternity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this exploration and want to follow future discoveries, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Peace be unto you.
Okay, let's look at this first. And we see this location of the shot points where we made the noise. And this is a higher resolution image of the structure. And what is important here to see is that some of the reflection comes from the structure which is buried by sediment.
Here we have the tomb.
The tomb of Moses.
Yes, here. Up, please.
So this is the burial.
Yeah.
According to biblical tradition, Moses ended his journey on the other side of the valley. Regardless of your faith, you've likely encountered the name Moses. This name belongs to a monumental figure in Christian, Islamic, and Judaic history. Whether viewed as legend or fact, Moses is a towering figure in all Abrahamic religions. We are Jesus' eternal aura. In today's video, you will have appropriate answers to all the questions above. Before you know what happened, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for all the latest updates.
Ready to record.
May I? Fire! Yes! I didn't know collecting data could be this much fun.
According to many biblical accounts, when Moses died, his burial site was hidden and remains unknown to this day. However, it seems this is no longer the case, as renowned modern-day explorer Josh Gates has claimed to have found this secret tomb. Gates describes the site as resembling a cairn, an artificial stone mound covering a tomb underneath. But that's not all. Gates claims not only to have found Moses' secret tomb, but also something terrifying inside it. What did he find? And why is it causing such a stir in religious communities worldwide? Prepare yourself, because what we're about to reveal might just blow your mind. Moses' life and the discovery of his burial site have captivated people for centuries. Known as the great prophet who led the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage, Moses has been the subject of countless texts, stories, and debates. Despite the extensive records of his achievements, one aspect of Moses' story has remained a mystery: his final resting place. Like the true explorer that he is, Josh Gates decided to embark on a mission to discover this mysterious resting place, believed to be Mount Nebo. But before we delve into what Josh found, let's take a brief look at Moses' life and why his burial site is so important. Moses is one of the most significant figures in the history of religion, particularly in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His story is primarily told in the Hebrew Bible, in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Moses is revered as a prophet, leader, and lawgiver, and his life and actions have greatly influenced many people and cultures. Moses was born in Egypt when the Israelites, also known as Hebrews, were enslaved. This was around the late 14th century BCE, probably around 1391 BCE. At that time, the Pharaoh had ordered that all newborn Hebrew boys be killed to control the Israelite population. To save her baby, Moses' mother, Yocheved, placed him in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. His sister Miriam watched over him as he floated away. The Pharaoh's daughter found the basket and decided to raise Moses as her own son, naming him Moses, which means drawn out of the water. Moses grew up in the royal palace, enjoying the benefits and education of an Egyptian prince, but he always knew he was a Hebrew. When he was about 40 years old, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Moses was so enraged that he killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. When the Pharaoh found out, Moses had to flee Egypt to save his life. Moses ran away to the land of Midian in the northwest Arabian Peninsula. There, he met Jethro, a priest, and married his daughter Zipporah. Moses became a shepherd, taking care of Jethro's sheep. He lived in Midian for about 40 years until he was around 80 years old. One day, while Moses was tending the sheep on Mount Horab, also known as Mount Sinai, he saw a bush that was on fire but did not burn up. God spoke to Moses from the bush and told him to go back to Egypt to free the Israelites from slavery. God gave Moses special powers to show the Pharaoh and the Israelites that he had sent him. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron, who helped him speak to the Pharaoh. They asked the Pharaoh to let the Israelites go free. When the Pharaoh refused, God sent 10 terrible plagues to Egypt. These plagues included turning the Nile River into blood, swarms of frogs, gnats, and flies, diseases that killed animals, boils, hailstorms, locusts, darkness, and finally, the death of the firstborn sons of Egypt. To protect their own children, the Israelites marked their doors with lamb's blood, a tradition that became known as Passover. The last plague, which killed the Pharaoh's own son, convinced him to let the Israelites go. This happened around 1250 BCE. Moses then led the Israelites out of Egypt in what is called the Exodus, heading towards the promised land of Canaan. As the Israelites fled, the Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army to catch them. The Israelites were trapped between the Red Sea and the Egyptian army. God told Moses to stretch out his hand over the sea, and the waters parted, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. Once they were safely across, the waters returned, drowning the Egyptian army. After escaping from Egypt, Moses led the Israelites through the desert. They camped at Mount Sinai, where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. These were a set of laws written on stone tablets, including rules like honoring parents, not killing, not stealing, and not lying. These commandments became the foundation of Jewish law and ethics. The Israelites spent 40 years wandering in the desert because they disobeyed God and did not trust Him. During this time, God provided them with manna, a special food that appeared on the ground each morning. Moses also struck a rock to bring water when the people were thirsty. Moses led the people, settled disputes, and taught them God's laws. He also set up a special tent called the tabernacle, where they could worship God. According to information from the Bible, near the end of the 40 years of wandering, Moses climbed Mount Nebo, from where he was allowed to see the Promised Land, but not enter it. It was on Mount Nebo that Moses died, and God Himself buried him in an undisclosed location. This secret burial has been a topic of speculation and mystery for centuries. Josh Gates's claim to have found Moses' secret tomb has reignited interest and debate in religious communities worldwide. If true, this discovery could be one of the most significant archaeological finds in history. Gates's description of the tomb as an artificial stone mound, or cairn, adds an intriguing element to the story. What did he find inside the tomb, and why is it causing such a stir? According to Gates, the discovery inside the tomb is something terrifying, but the details of this finding remain shrouded in mystery. The potential implications of such a discovery are enormous, raising questions about the historical accuracy of biblical accounts and the nature of Moses' final resting place. Moses' life and the mystery of his burial site continue to captivate people across the world. The claims made by Josh Gates have added a new chapter to this age-old story, sparking curiosity and debate among scholars, religious leaders, and believers alike. Whether or not Gates's findings will be verified remains to be seen, but the journey to uncover the secrets of Moses' final resting place is a testament to the enduring power of his legacy. Josh Gates and his team embarked on an ambitious quest to uncover the final resting place of Moses, a figure whose burial site has intrigued scholars and believers for centuries. The traditional belief holds that Moses died on Mount Nebo, where he was said to have been shown the Promised Land from afar. According to the Bible, Moses was buried in a secret location by God Himself, and this event is estimated to have occurred around 1271 BCE. However, recent clues suggested by Gates's exploration indicate a different possibility, drawing attention to the area around the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee, located in northern Israel, is the country's largest freshwater lake and holds significant historical and religious importance. Due to its prominence in the Bible and its rich archaeological potential, Gates and his team decided to focus their search in this region. The expedition, which began planning in early 2018, aimed to uncover any possible connections between this area and Moses' burial. To start, Gates's team gathered historical documents, maps, and other resources to guide their investigation. Their primary objective was to explore underwater sites in the Sea of Galilee that might contain ancient artifacts or structures related to Moses. They established their base of operations near the lake and assembled a diverse team of underwater archaeologists, historians, and diving experts. Modern technology played a crucial role in their search. Satellite imagery was one of the key tools used to analyze geographical features and terrain that might correspond with descriptions from ancient texts. This helped the team create detailed maps of the regions they planned to investigate. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, was another significant tool. GPR uses radar pulses to image the subsurface by sending radio waves into the ground. When these waves hit an object, they bounce back and are captured to reveal buried structures, chambers, or anomalies without the need for excavation. In addition to GPR, the team employed drones equipped with high-resolution cameras. These drones provided aerial views of the landscape, helping to identify unusual features or structures not visible from the ground. They also allowed access to difficult-to-reach areas, such as cliffs and steep terrain. 3D scanning technology was used to create detailed three-dimensional models of any significant finds, which helped document and analyze structures and artifacts with precision. This technology also facilitated the sharing of findings with experts and the public, offering a clearer view of the discoveries. The team's underwater exploration began with scanning the lakebed for unusual formations. In October 2018, they discovered a significant submerged structure, a circular stone monument, approximately 230 feet in diameter and 32 feet high. This structure, known as a K, was made of large basalt rocks arranged in a circular pattern. Such structures are often associated with ancient burial practices, which led Gates and his team to hypothesize that this might be connected to Moses or could provide clues about his final resting place. The examination of the site involved carefully removing silt and sediment to reveal more of the structure. This meticulous process took several weeks and required great care to avoid damaging the ancient stones. The team used traditional archaeological tools, including shovels, trowels, brushes, and sieves, to dig through the soil and uncover artifacts, inscriptions, or structural remnants that could shed light on Moses' burial. Among the artifacts uncovered were pottery shards and tools, which suggested that the site could be thousands of years old. Carbon dating of some artifacts indicated that they dated back to around the time Moses is believed to have lived, roughly 3,200 years ago. Despite these promising signs, there was no direct evidence linking the structure specifically to Moses. The team faced several challenges during their search. Poor visibility underwater, strong currents, and the depth of the lake made their work difficult. They also had to contend with the challenge of distinguishing between significant findings and those that were not relevant to their search. To further understand the significance of the submerged K, Gates and his team consulted experts in ancient history and archaeology. They examined the pottery and tools found at the site to determine their age and origin. Additionally, they researched ancient texts and local legends for any mentions of submerged cities or monuments, though nothing specifically pointed to Moses. By early 2019, Gates and his team had mapped the entire structure and gathered extensive data. However, despite their efforts, they did not find conclusive evidence linking the discovery directly to Moses. Nevertheless, the search for Moses' burial site continues, reflecting the broader interest in uncovering historical truths about this pivotal biblical figure. The search for Moses' resting place highlights not only the challenges of archaeological exploration, but also the ongoing quest for understanding historical and religious narratives. Different religions and cultures have their interpretations of Moses' final resting place, adding layers of complexity to the mystery. The quest remains open, with ongoing efforts to explore new theories and technologies that might one day provide definitive answers about the location of Moses' tomb.
can we date all of this to?
This is the oldest part of the site, and near the entrance to this mausoleum, there is an inscription.
In the upcoming segment of this video, we will delve into the intriguing details surrounding alternative locations believed to be the final resting place of Moses. We will explore these sites and understand why they are considered significant. Keep watching as you are about to discover something truly remarkable. First, we turn our attention to Nabi Musa, a notable site in the Judean desert, situated near the Dead Sea and approximately 18.6 miles east of Jerusalem. This site holds great importance in Islam, where it is revered as the burial place of Moses, known in Arabic as Musa. Moses, or Musa, is one of the most pivotal prophets in Islam, his story being mentioned more frequently in the Quran than any other prophet. His life and mission are central to Islamic teachings, symbolizing faith, perseverance, and divine guidance. Muslims believe that Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and received the Torah from God. His narrative underscores the significance of following God's commandments and maintaining strong faith. The Nabi Musa site has a rich history and has been a focal point of pilgrimage for centuries. Its association with Moses dates back to the medieval Islamic period, specifically around 1269 AD during the Mamluk Sultanate. The Sultan Baybars, a prominent Mamluk ruler, initiated the construction of a shrine and mosque at Nabi Musa. His aim was to establish a major religious site for Muslims to honor Moses, who holds a revered status in Islam. One of the most notable events at Nabi Musa is the annual pilgrimage known as the Nabi Musa Festival. This event has been celebrated for many centuries and is traditionally linked to the Muslim celebration of Laylat al-Mi'raj. Laylat al-Mi'raj commemorates the Prophet Muhammad's miraculous night journey and ascent to heaven. Every year, thousands of Muslims participate in this pilgrimage, which involves a procession starting in Jerusalem and concluding at Nabi Musa. Pilgrims gather at the shrine to partake in various religious ceremonies and celebrations. The Nabi Musa complex includes several key structures, such as a mosque, a shrine, and accommodations for pilgrims. The architecture of the site reflects the Islamic styles prevalent during the medieval period. Over the years, the complex has been expanded and renovated by various Islamic authorities to preserve its religious and cultural heritage. The mosque is used for daily prayers, while the shrine is considered the focal point, where it is believed that Moses is buried. Nabi Musa is more than just a historical landmark. It holds deep religious significance. Muslims visit the site to pray, seek blessings, and connect with their faith. The annual pilgrimage to Nabi Musa underscores the site's continued importance in the Islamic world, providing a time for communal gathering, reflection, and celebration. The site has been meticulously maintained and improved to accommodate the growing number of pilgrims each year. These efforts ensure that Nabi Musa remains a vital place of religious significance and cultural heritage. Nabi Musa is a cultural landmark as well as a religious site. It symbolizes the rich history and traditions of the Islamic world. The annual pilgrimage brings together Muslims from diverse backgrounds, fostering a sense of unity and shared faith. The site also serves as an educational resource, offering insights into the history of Moses and his role in Islamic teachings. Today, Nabi Musa continues to be a significant site for Muslims globally, offering spiritual solace and reinforcing their faith. The pilgrimage remains a profound event, attracting thousands of participants annually and serving as a reminder of Moses' enduring legacy in Islamic tradition. In addition to Nabi Musa, another less widely recognized potential burial site of Moses is Jebel Harun, also known as Mount Aaron. Located in Jordan, Jebel Harun is traditionally associated with the biblical figures of Moses and his brother Aaron. According to local belief, Aaron was buried here, and there is a long-standing tradition that suggests Moses might also have been interred at this location. This belief is rooted in religious traditions and historical accounts that have developed over centuries. To understand why Jebel Harun is considered a possible burial site for Moses, we need to examine several factors, including biblical narratives, religious traditions, and archaeological evidence. The association of Jebel Harun with Moses and Aaron draws from various sources, including local folklore and historical accounts that attribute significant religious importance to this mountain. While there is no definitive archaeological evidence to confirm Moses' burial at Jebel Harun, the site's long-standing connection to these biblical figures makes it a noteworthy candidate. Both Nabi Musa and Jebel Harun are sites of considerable religious and historical significance, each with its own unique traditions and claims regarding the final resting place of Moses. Nabi Musa stands out for its role in Islamic pilgrimage and its deep-rooted connection to Muslim traditions, while Jebel Harun is distinguished by its historical and religious associations with the figures of Moses and Aaron. Exploring these sites offers valuable insights into the diverse ways in which Moses' legacy is honored across different cultures and religious traditions. Mountains have long held profound significance across various faiths, often symbolizing sacred spaces where divine encounters and pivotal events take place. In the Old Testament, mountains such as Mount Sinai are depicted as sites of crucial religious revelations, like when Moses received the 10 Commandments from God. As the Israelites wandered the wilderness for 40 years in search of the Promised Land, the Book of Numbers recounts another critical mountain-related event, the death of Aaron at Mount Hor. According to the narrative in Numbers 20, God instructed Moses and Aaron to gather the congregation at Mount Hor, where it was revealed that Aaron would die due to past disobedience. Moses, along with Aaron and Aaron's son Eleazar, ascended the mountain, where Aaron passed away and was buried. This event marked a significant transition in Israelite leadership, ending Aaron's role as high priest and leader of the Levites. The site traditionally associated with this event, Jebel Harun, in modern-day Jordan, has been recognized in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. Jewish scholars and rabbis, as well as early Christian pilgrims and Islamic tradition, have supported this identification, reflecting the mountain's continued importance across different faiths. Archaeological findings in the nearby ancient city of Petra, a major center of trade and culture in biblical times, further highlight the historical and religious significance of Jebel Harun. Despite the lack of direct evidence linking Jebel Harun to Moses' burial, the mountain's prominence in historical and religious contexts remains clear. Pilgrimages to Jebel Harun continue, underscoring its lasting significance as a sacred site. The ongoing search for Moses' tomb reflects a deeper quest to understand his enduring influence on religious ethics and moral codes. Although the exact location of his tomb is still unknown, the legacy of Moses endures, symbolizing resilience and divine guidance. Sites like Mount Nebo offer believers a chance to reflect on Moses' teachings and their own spiritual journeys, connecting with their faith and seeking proximity to a revered prophet and leader.
It's always exciting. Sometimes there is even between the workmen a bit of a competition. Who will find first?
Whether Moses is legend or fact, he is a towering figure in all Abrahamic religions.
Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I've remembered my covenant.
Have you ever heard of Moses? Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, the name is likely familiar to you. Moses is a pivotal figure in the history of all three Abrahamic religions. Some view him as a legendary hero, while others see him as a historical figure. According to many biblical accounts, Moses' burial site has remained a mystery for centuries. However, renowned modern-day explorer Josh Gates claims to have uncovered this long-lost tomb. Describing it as an artificial stone mound concealing a tomb beneath, Gates has sparked excitement and controversy worldwide. But the discovery doesn't end there. Gates reports finding something truly terrifying inside the tomb. What did he see, and why is it causing such a stir in religious communities across the globe? Get ready, because what we're about to reveal might just blow your mind. We are Jesus' eternal aura. In today's video, you will have appropriate answers to all the questions above. Before you know what happened, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for all the latest updates.
This was a feat that deserved a magnificent burial and a majestic tomb.
Moses' life and the discovery of his burial site have long been subjects of fascination and debate. Known as the great prophet who led the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage, Moses' story is rich with historical and religious significance. Despite the vast records of his achievements, one aspect of Moses' story remains a mystery: his final resting place. In a quest to uncover this elusive burial site, Josh Gates embarked on an expedition to Mount Nebo. Before delving into Gates' findings, let's take a comprehensive look at Moses' life and understand why his burial site holds such importance. Stay tuned as we unveil surprising details about this iconic figure. Moses is one of the most significant individuals in the history of religion, especially in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His narrative is primarily chronicled in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Moses is revered as a prophet, leader, and lawgiver, and his life and actions have profoundly influenced many people and cultures across millennia. Moses was born in Egypt at a time when the Israelites, also known as Hebrews, were enslaved. This was around the late 14th century BCE, likely circa 1391 BCE. During this period, the Pharaoh decreed that all newborn Hebrew boys be killed to control the burgeoning Israelite population. In an act of desperation to save her child, Moses' mother, Yocheved, placed him in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. His sister, Miriam, watched over the basket as it drifted away. The Pharaoh's daughter discovered the basket and decided to raise Moses as her own, naming him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water. Moses grew up in the royal palace, enjoying the privileges and education of an Egyptian prince. However, he was acutely aware of his Hebrew heritage. At the age of 40, Moses witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Enraged, he killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. When the Pharaoh learned of this, Moses was forced to flee Egypt to save his life. Moses sought refuge in the land of Midian, located in the northwest Arabian Peninsula. There, he met Jethro, a priest, and married his daughter Zipporah. Moses became a shepherd, tending to Jethro's sheep. He lived in Midian for about 40 years, until he was approximately 80 years old. One day, while attending to the sheep on Mount Horab, also known as Mount Sinai, Moses encountered a burning bush that was not consumed by the flames. From this miraculous sight, God spoke to Moses, instructing him to return to Egypt and free the Israelites from slavery. God endowed Moses with special powers to demonstrate to the Pharaoh and the Israelites that he had sent him. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron, who served as his spokesperson. Together, they approached the Pharaoh, requesting the release of the Israelites. When the Pharaoh refused, God unleashed 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt. These plagues played a pivotal role in Moses' enduring legacy in religious history. The Bible details the plagues as follows: the Nile River turning into blood, swarms of frogs, gnats, and flies, diseases that afflicted animals, boils, hailstorms, locusts, darkness, and finally, the death of the firstborn sons of Egypt. To protect their own children, the Israelites marked their doors with lamb's blood, an act that gave rise to the tradition of Passover. The final plague, which claimed the Pharaoh's own son, compelled him to release the Israelites. This monumental event, known as the Exodus, occurred around 1250 BCE. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, heading towards the promised land of Canaan. However, the Pharaoh soon regretted his decision and dispatched his army to recapture them. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the Red Sea and the Egyptian forces. God instructed Moses to stretch out his hand over the sea, parting the waters and creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. Once they were safely across, the waters returned, drowning the Egyptian army. Following their escape from Egypt, Moses guided the Israelites through the desert. They camped at Mount Sinai, where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. These commandments, inscribed on stone tablets, included laws such as honoring one's parents, prohibitions against murder, theft, and lying. These commandments formed the bedrock of Jewish law and ethics. The Israelites' journey through the desert lasted 40 years, a consequence of their disobedience and lack of faith in God. Throughout this period, God provided them with manna, a special food that appeared on the ground each morning. When the people were thirsty, Moses struck a rock, bringing forth water. He also served as a leader, settling disputes and teaching God's laws. Additionally, Moses established a special tent known as the tabernacle, where the Israelites could worship God. Despite Moses' pivotal role in leading the Israelites and receiving the 10 Commandments, his story concludes with an unresolved mystery: his burial site. According to the Bible, Moses was allowed to see the promised land from Mount Nebo, but was not permitted to enter it. He died in Moab, and his burial place remains unknown. This enigma has intrigued scholars, theologians, and explorers for centuries. In recent times, the quest to discover Moses' burial site has captured the imagination of many. Among those drawn to this mystery is Josh Gates, an intrepid explorer and television host. Gates embarked on a mission to Mount Nebo, the site traditionally believed to be where Moses viewed the promised land and was subsequently buried. Mount Nebo, located in present-day Jordan, offers a panoramic view of the region, making it a fitting location for such a significant biblical event. While archaeological evidence for Moses' burial at Mount Nebo remains elusive, the site's historical and religious significance cannot be understated. Gates's expedition aimed to uncover any potential clues or artifacts that might shed light on this ancient mystery. Although the exact location of Moses' tomb remains hidden, the journey to uncover it underscores the enduring legacy of one of history's most revered figures. Moses' life is a testament to faith, leadership, and perseverance. His story, from his miraculous rescue as an infant to his role in delivering the Israelites from bondage and receiving the 10 Commandments, has left an indelible mark on religious history. The mystery of his final resting place adds an element of intrigue to his already remarkable narrative. As explorers like Josh Gates continue to seek answers, the legacy of Moses endures, inspiring generations to come. According to the Bible, near the end of the 40 years during which God punished the Israelites, Moses climbed Mount Nebo. From this vantage point, he could see the Promised Land. However, God informed Moses that he would not be allowed to enter this land due to his disobedience at the waters of Marah. The Bible records that Moses died on Mount Nebo, and it was God himself who buried him in a secret place. This event is believed to have taken place around 1271 BCE. Fast forward to the modern day, and the traditional death location of Moses at Mount Nebo has been brought into question by new clues uncovered by Josh Gates, suggesting his tomb might have been found. For centuries, people have wondered about the exact location of Moses' grave. Some ancient texts and local stories hinted that clues could be found in the region around the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee, located in northern Israel, is the largest freshwater lake in the country. It boasts a rich history and is mentioned numerous times in the Bible. Given its historical and religious significance, it seemed a promising place to search for clues about Moses' burial site. In early 2018, Josh Gates and his team began planning their expedition, gathering historical documents, maps, and other resources to determine where to start looking. The goal was to explore underwater sites that might hold ancient artifacts or structures related to Moses. Upon arrival in Israel, Gates and his team set up a base of operations near the Sea of Galilee. The team comprised underwater archaeologists, historians, and diving experts. They employed advanced equipment and tools to map the lakebed and search for hidden structures. One of the modern tools used by Josh Gates was satellite imagery. By analyzing satellite images, his team could identify geographical features and terrain that matched descriptions from ancient texts. Mapping software helped create detailed maps of the areas they planned to explore, ensuring they had a clear understanding of the landscape. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, was another crucial tool used in the search for Moses' tomb. GPR is a non-invasive method that uses radar pulses to image the subsurface. The radio waves generated by GPR travel downwards and bounce back up upon hitting an object, displaying the results on a screen. This technology helps detect buried structures, chambers, and anomalies without the need for digging. By using GPR, Gates and his team could explore beneath the surface of potential sites, searching for hidden tombs or other significant archaeological features. Additionally, drones equipped with high-resolution cameras were employed to capture aerial views of the landscape. These aerial shots provided a broader perspective of the areas under investigation and helped identify any unusual features or structures that might not be visible from the ground. Drones also allowed the team to access hard-to-reach places, such as cliffs and steep terrain. Furthermore, 3D scanning technology was utilized to create detailed three-dimensional models of any significant finds. This technology enabled the team to document and analyze structures and artifacts with high precision. The 3D models also facilitated sharing their findings with experts and the public, offering a more comprehensive view of the discoveries. In October 2018, the team began their underwater exploration by scanning the lakebed for unusual formations. During this process, they discovered an ancient submerged structure that appeared to be a circular stone monument. This structure, known as a cairn, was made of large basalt rocks stacked in a circular shape. It measured approximately 230 feet in diameter and 32 feet high. This discovery was significant because cairns are often associated with ancient burial practices. Gates and his team believed that this structure might be connected to Moses or could hold clues about his final resting place. They commenced a detailed examination of the site, carefully removing silt and sediment to reveal more of the structure. This process took several weeks and required great care to avoid damaging the ancient stones. In locations where preliminary findings suggested potential archaeological significance, the team conducted careful excavations. They used traditional archaeological tools like shovels, trowels, brushes, and sieves to dig and sift through the soil, aiming to uncover any artifacts, inscriptions, or structural remnants that could provide clues about Moses' burial site. As they excavated, they found several artifacts, including pottery shards and tools, which suggested the site could be thousands of years old. However, there was no direct evidence linking the structure to Moses. The team faced challenges such as poor visibility underwater, strong currents, and the difficulty of working at such depths. To understand the importance of the submerged cairn, the team consulted with experts in ancient history and archaeology. They studied the pottery and tools found at the site to determine their age and origin. Carbon dating showed that some of the artifacts were from around the time Moses is believed to have lived, roughly 300-200 years ago. The team also researched ancient texts and local legends to see if they mentioned the structure. They found references to submerged cities and monuments in the region's folklore, but nothing specifically about Moses. Despite the lack of direct evidence, the discovery of the cairn added a new layer to the mystery of Moses's final resting place. By early 2019, Gates and his team had mapped the entire structure and collected as much data as possible. However, they did not find anything particularly conclusive. Regardless, the search for Moses's burial site continues. Interestingly, Christianity is not the only religion that regards Moses. Other religions also have their versions of where this mysterious burial site might be. This shared interest ensures that the quest to uncover the truth about Moses's final resting place remains a topic of intrigue and ongoing exploration. In the next part of this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into various sites that are believed to be the final resting place of Moses. Keep watching because you're about to witness something truly incredible. Other suspected sites of Moses's tomb. First off, we'll start with the Islamic version of Moses's burial site, called Nabi Musa. Nabi Musa is a highly significant religious site located in the Judean desert, close to the Dead Sea, and about 18.6 miles east of Jerusalem. Many Muslims believe this site to be the burial place of Moses, who is known as Musa in Arabic. In Islam, Moses, Musa, is one of the most important prophets, mentioned more times in the Quran than any other prophet. His story is central to Islamic teachings, emphasizing faith, perseverance, and guidance from God. Muslims believe that Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and received the Torah from God. His story teaches the importance of following God's commandments and having strong faith. The Nabi Musa site has a long history and has been a place of pilgrimage and religious significance for centuries. The association of this site with Moses dates back to the medieval Islamic period, around the year 1269 AD, during the time of the Mamluk Sultanate. Sultan Baybars, a prominent Mamluk ruler, began the construction of the shrine and mosque at Nabi Musa. He aimed to create an important religious site for Muslims to honor Moses. One of the most significant events at Nabi Musa is the annual pilgrimage known as the Nabi Musa Festival. This pilgrimage has been celebrated for many centuries and is traditionally linked with the Muslim celebration of Laylat al-Miraj, which commemorates the Prophet Muhammad's night journey and ascension to heaven. Thousands of Muslims participate in this pilgrimage every year. The pilgrimage involves a procession that starts in Jerusalem and ends at Nabi Musa. Pilgrims gather at the shrine to participate in religious ceremonies and celebrations. The Nabi Musa complex includes several buildings, such as a mosque, a shrine, and accommodations for pilgrims. The architecture of the site reflects the Islamic styles of the medieval period. Over the years, the complex has been expanded and renovated by various Islamic authorities to preserve its religious and cultural heritage. The mosque is used for daily prayers, and the shrine is the focal point where people believe Moses is buried. Nabi Musa is not just a historical site, it is also a place of deep religious significance. Muslims visit the site to pray, seek blessings, and connect with their faith. The annual pilgrimage to Nabi Musa demonstrates the enduring importance of this site in the Islamic world. It is a time for communal gathering, religious reflection, and celebration. Over the centuries, the Nabi Musa site has been carefully preserved and renovated. Islamic authorities have made sure that the site remains in good condition for future generations. The buildings at Nabi Musa have been expanded and improved to accommodate the growing number of pilgrims who visit each year. These efforts ensure that the site continues to serve as a place of religious significance and cultural heritage. In the next part of this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into various sites that are believed to be the final resting place of Moses. Keep watching because you're about to witness something truly incredible. Other suspected sites of Moses's tomb. First off, we'll start with the Islamic version of Moses' burial site, called Nabi Musa. Nabi Musa is a highly significant religious site located in the Judean desert, close to the Dead Sea, and about 18.6 miles east of Jerusalem. Many Muslims believe this site to be the burial place of Moses, who is known as Musa in Arabic. In Islam, Moses, Musa, is one of the most important prophets, mentioned more times in the Quran than any other prophet. His story is central to Islamic teachings, emphasizing faith, perseverance, and guidance from God. Muslims believe that Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and received the Torah from God. His story teaches the importance of following God's commandments and having strong faith. The Nabi Musa site has a long history and has been a place of pilgrimage and religious significance for centuries. The association of this site with Moses dates back to the medieval Islamic period, around the year 1269 AD, during the time of the Mamluk Sultanate. Sultan Baybars, a prominent Mamluk ruler, began the construction of the shrine and mosque at Nabi Musa. He aimed to create an important religious site for Muslims to honor Moses. One of the most significant events at Nabi Musa is the annual pilgrimage known as the Nabi Musa Festival. This pilgrimage has been celebrated for many centuries and is traditionally linked with the Muslim celebration of Laylat al-Miraj, which commemorates the Prophet Muhammad's night journey and ascension to heaven. Thousands of Muslims participate in this pilgrimage every year. The pilgrimage involves a procession that starts in Jerusalem and ends at Nabi Musa. Pilgrims gather at the shrine to participate in religious ceremonies and celebrations. The Nabi Musa complex includes several buildings, such as a mosque, a shrine, and accommodations for pilgrims. The architecture of the site reflects the Islamic styles of the medieval period. Over the years, the complex has been expanded and renovated by various Islamic authorities to preserve its religious and cultural heritage. The mosque is used for daily prayers, and the shrine is the focal point where people believe Moses is buried. Nabi Musa is not just a historical site, it is also a place of deep religious significance. Muslims visit the site to pray, seek blessings, and connect with their faith. The annual pilgrimage to Nabi Musa demonstrates the enduring importance of this site in the Islamic world. It is a time for communal gathering, religious reflection, and celebration. Over the centuries, the Nabi Musa site has been carefully preserved and renovated. Islamic authorities have made sure that the site remains in good condition for future generations. The buildings at Nabi Musa have been expanded and improved to accommodate the growing number of pilgrims who visit each year. These efforts ensure that the site continues to serve as a place of religious significance and cultural heritage. Jebel Harun, also known as Mount Aaron, is a mountain in Jordan with deep historical and religious significance, particularly related to the biblical figures Moses and Aaron. Aaron, Moses' brother, is believed to have been buried here. The association of Jebel Harun as a potential burial site for Moses stems from religious traditions and historical accounts that have endured for centuries. To understand why Jebel Harun is considered a potential burial site for Moses, we need to delve into several key aspects, including biblical narratives, religious traditions, archaeological evidence, and the importance of the mountain in different faiths. Starting with the biblical narratives, according to the Old Testament, specifically the Book of Numbers, Moses and the Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years after leaving Egypt. During this time, Moses received the 10 Commandments and other laws from God at Mount Sinai. As their journey continued, the Israelites approached the land of Canaan, the Promised Land. In Numbers chapter 20, the narrative describes a crucial event near Mount Hor. God instructed Moses and Aaron to gather the congregation of Israel. God then informed Moses that Aaron would die because the brothers did not follow his instructions earlier. Moses took Aaron and Aaron's son Eleazar up the mountain, where Aaron died, and Moses and Eleazar descended without him. Aaron's death marked the end of his role as high priest and leader of the Levites. The location of Mount Hor, where Aaron died and was buried, is traditionally identified with Jebel Harun. This identification has been preserved through Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions, all of which recognize the importance of the mountain in relation to Aaron's death and burial. In terms of religious traditions, Mount Hor's identification with Jebel Harun is supported by historical interpretations and religious teachings. Jewish scholars and rabbis have maintained the belief that Aaron's death and burial on Mount Hor occurred at Jebel Harun. Moses' connection to the mountain is inferred from the biblical account of him accompanying Aaron there and overseeing his death. Early Christian pilgrims and scholars, following biblical narratives, also identified Mount Hor with Jebel Harun. They viewed the mountain as a significant site associated with Moses and Aaron's biblical stories. This tradition has persisted through centuries of Christian religious teachings and historical writings. Islamic tradition also holds Jebel Harun in high esteem. Muslims believe that Aaron, known as Harun in Arabic, is buried on this mountain. The mountain is considered a sacred site, and many Muslims visit it as a place of pilgrimage. Islamic scholars and historians have documented the significance of Jebel Harun in Islamic history and religious practice. Apart from religious texts and traditions, archaeological findings and historical accounts contribute to the understanding of Jebel Harun's significance. Petra, an ancient city near Jebel Harun, was a major center of trade and culture during biblical times. The proximity of Jebel Harun to Petra suggests that the mountain would have been known and possibly revered by the ancient inhabitants of the region. Archaeological excavations in Petra and surrounding areas have revealed artifacts and inscriptions that provide insights into the religious beliefs and practices of the people who lived there. While direct evidence linking Jebel Harun to Moses' burial is scarce, the mountain's prominence in historical and religious contexts cannot be overlooked. Over the centuries, Jebel Harun has remained a site of cultural and religious pilgrimage. People of different faiths have visited the mountain to pay homage to the biblical figures associated with it. Pilgrimages to Jebel Harun continue to this day, showing its enduring importance in the religious landscape of the Middle East. The site serves as a testament to the lasting legacy of Aaron and the profound impact of his life and death on various religious traditions. In recent times, the search for Moses' tomb continues to captivate believers and scholars alike. The search is not only about locating a physical site, but also about understanding the enduring influence of Moses' teachings and his role in shaping religious ethics and moral codes. The cultural impact of Moses' legacy goes beyond religious boundaries, influencing literature, art, and philosophy worldwide. Even though the exact location of his tomb has not been discovered yet, Moses' legacy endures as a symbol of resilience and divine guidance. People still look for Moses' tomb today as part of a spiritual journey, connecting with their faith and seeking proximity to a revered prophet and leader. Pilgrimages to sites like Mount Nebo, another location traditionally associated with Moses, offer believers a chance to reflect on Moses' teachings and their own spiritual path. Mount Nebo is believed to be the place where Moses viewed the Promised Land before he died. The site provides a panoramic view of the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea, creating a poignant connection for pilgrims retracing the steps of Moses. The continued interest in Moses' burial site reflects the profound reverence held for him across different cultures and religions. His role as a prophet, lawgiver, and leader is celebrated in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The stories of his leadership, his receipt of divine commandments, and his guidance of the Israelites have left an indelible mark on the world's spiritual and cultural heritage. In conclusion, Jebel Harun, with its historical and religious significance, stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of Aaron and the intertwined narratives of Moses. the mountain's identification as Aaron's burial site, and its potential connection to Moses' final resting place highlight the rich tapestry of religious traditions and historical accounts that have shaped its reverence over centuries. While the exact location of Moses' tomb remains undiscovered, the spiritual journey to sites like Jebel Harun and Mount Nebo continues to inspire and connect people with their faith, underscoring the timeless impact of these biblical figures.